In this video, I'm going to tell you why I got an MBA because I thought I had to. Hey everyone, it's Rich Cardona. So look, I'm here because if you're 30, 35, 40, and you are kind of unsettled in your career or life, I want to walk you through some of my journey because I know a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people are going through the same thing. And I've made some changes that have helped me dramatically to be living the best life possible. So go ahead and subscribe. Let's get into it though. The first couple posts were military related, okay? They were military-based decisions or things that I had decided on that were either not influenced or influenced by other people that led to outcomes that I discussed and kind of puts us in a position where we're questioning like what we're doing, why we're doing it, should we be doing it? And this next piece was getting a degree, getting an advanced degree or a higher education degree. In this case, a master's of business, okay, or MBA. I am going to be straight up and just say the reason I even wanted one was because number one, I was getting out of the Marine Corps. I was transitioning out. If you listen to the last episode, I had a seizure and I wasn't flying anymore. So I ended up, putting in for early retirement. Now I was transitioning. I was afraid. That somehow that all my leadership skills and everything I'd done in 17 years wasn't going to be enough in the actual marketplace. So I didn't think I was going to be marketable to companies. And, I'd been doing everything I possibly could to kind of set myself up for a successful transition. And I know you've been there, whether you're in a different industry. Obviously, this doesn't have to be the military. You could be in a different industry. You could be in a different state. You could be in a different mindset. And just thinking of that shift that you need to make. But a lot of this was fear driven. I was just afraid I wasn't going to be marketable. So I like to use the phrase, I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. So I was like, well, I'm going to get an MBA. I had the Montgomery GI Bill, which essentially was money for college. I still chose a private institution, which means I still had to come out of pocket. I just wanted to go to the best possible university. And you know what? I was thinking of not saying it, but it doesn't really matter. I was in Southern California. I went to USC. I went to the University of Southern California, private institution, private school, and I went into the executive MBA program, which means a lot of the people in this MBA had a lot of industry experience already. It's not like I was going to be around younger people, so to speak. So that being said, I got accepted, as did a bunch of other Marines. But guess what? I felt out of place from the beginning. Maybe some of that is limiting beliefs or negative self-talk or whatever it may be, but something was off. And I, again, kind of like with flying, I felt out of place in terms of I wasn't ingesting the knowledge right. I wasn't receiving it in a way that it was sticking. And I was constantly looking around and not actually thinking about, wow, this is such a great opportunity. I was actually always thinking, I don't want to be here. To the point where in the first semester, someone in my study group, we talked, he's like, nah, dude, stick it out. Dude, stick it out. Like, he was thinking the same thing. So for a lot of people, that MBA was a requisite to break through the glass ceiling. You might be going through that right now. But for me, it was simply just a play to be marketable. And I was coming a lot out of pocket. I mean, I'm blessed to have the GI Bill, but think of the people who all come out of pocket. The intent was good, but the judgment was bad because I still, in that first semester, decided, okay, I will stick it out. The next year and a half and all those weekends, I was ambivalent. I was kind of stressed. I was networky and then lonely at the same time. I mean, it was just an interesting experience. It has nothing to do with the classmates, nothing to do with the staff, nothing to do with the institution, but it's because I felt like I had to do something. Let me just put it in perspective. There's a lot of people who have a bucket list item of running a triathlon or running a marathon. Mark Manson talks about it in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Having someone force you to run a marathon is going to create a lot more anguish than what you're probably used to. Now, the result at the end is going to be the same, whether you trained religiously for it or whether someone forced you to do it. Physically, it's all going to be the same, but mentally, it's going to be a completely different experience. If you trained and you wanted this, you're going to feel relief and just proud. You're just going to feel proud of yourself. You're going to feel accomplished. You're going to feel fantastic. On the other end, you're going to feel awful. And that's because you had to do it. So keep that in mind. And now as I reflect on it a little bit more, I was just thinking like I was overwhelmed with the books because I'm not a reader. I was overwhelmed with the learning environment because it was really nice, and there's just a lot of whiteboard and a lot of case studies. I mean, how many case studies of Tesla and HBR and Amazon can we read? It's just like, that's not me. I recognize that. So why didn't I do something about it? Because I was heavily invested? Because I was afraid it wouldn't get me a good job? Well, here's the news. I don't use that MBA for anything. And I'm not in touch with the people. And maybe that's on me. But, it's all about the connections, or it's all about the network, or it's all about the school, or all these other things. Well, as an entrepreneur and as a podcaster, I have met some of the most successful people on the planet. I've had coaching from some of these people. I've started a business and I've had some very high level clients. None of it was attributed to an MBA. It was attributed to me testing things out and doing it myself, very hands-on. And it was also tied to emotional intelligence, some of the emotional intelligence. I've a far, far, far way to go, but still, these things were not courses. I mean, I actually believe we had an entrepreneur section or a few weeks of entrepreneurship, and it's like, looking back, it makes me laugh because everything changes so rapidly. Like, I don't even know why that's actually a course. So look, I'll leave you with this. Once again, I put myself in an environment where I was surrounded by very, very talented and amazing people. And I do not overlook that for a second. But the businessy, the MBA culture, the drinking, which I hated because I already had a problem with alcohol, the learning environment that wasn't conducive to my type of learning, all these things I went through and I got a degree, and I remember I felt relieved, but not necessarily accomplished. And the reason is my resume was now ahead, but I wasn't. I didn't feel ahead because I now had an MBA. Now I'll get into how that landed me a job at Amazon, and that's going to be a fun episode because I freaking hated that. But it sounds like, I am completely out of balance here and that I'm ambivalent and just a cynic and negative. But I'm telling you all this because it's easy to go through your life doing these types of things repetitively. And when you don't acknowledge them, they actually boil to the surface at some point and probably lead to something catastrophic. So I didn't need that degree. If I didn't get that degree and I got out, I assure you this podcasting, making YouTube videos, entrepreneurship, it all would have happened because I would have been in a situation where my back was against the wall and I had to be resourceful and I wanted to go after what I wanted. And when you want something, it's very different than when you need something. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I do believe passion plays a role that a lot of people try and extinguish way too early when it comes to making these kinds of decisions. So look, I appreciate your time. I want the best for you. I have crossed the Rubicon in terms of living, a life that was made with poor decisions, influenced decisions, and just meandering. And that's the word that always comes to mind, meandering. So we'll wrap it up there. I'd really appreciate if you subscribe. This is me saying to you that you can cross the Rubicon, okay, from living that kind of life where it's just perplexing and just discouraging and you're just not sure where it's going to lead to. I can help through my experiences that I know you've endured, maybe just in a different manner. I can help you by telling you some of the decisions we made, by sharing some of the commonalities that we had in terms of not being fulfilled or not literally just living up to our full potential. Those days are dead. And I want you to embrace that and to kind of look over the hill, crest the hill, and say, I got it now. I'm going to help with that. So subscribe. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next time.